Aloha! This is the Green Lighting Mr. T, and welcome back to more Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. Last part was the search for all the remaining custom parts. And since then, well, I worry there's going to be so much to talk about that it's like this is going to be long enough to be its own bonus part. But, like, first off, I'm going to start with Pommy. I have looked and seen how the Pommy's evolution tree works, because it's a tree, and there's a freaking, like, so many branching paths for possible evolutions that, like, there's just too many of them. Yeah, Pommy only will evolve up to 4 times, but every single time if Pommy evolves, there's 2 branching options, and since it evolves 4 times, there's like 16 or 18-ish possible things. I guess it'd be 16, although one of them has 2. There's extra bonus ones in there. I don't know. It's a mess. So Pommy's not gonna be turning into a dragon anytime soon. On top of that, I'm just happy with where Pommy currently is in the evolution chart, because I think stunning enemies is where Pommy is the most useful. But I've had to think about things from a different aspect, because the way Pommy evolves, like, you have to consider the fact that the Pommy is designed to be like a second player. And what sounds more fun, stunning enemies or being able to damage enemies? And then on top of that, being able to fly. You can just, when your wizard Pommy can just fly. So while the game is horrible at aiming, the player may not be so bad, and can probably, you know, have more fun being a wizard flying through the air and storming death upon your enemies. It sounds a lot more reasonable thinking of it that way than like just the computerized version of Pommy. So I think I'm a little bit happier with how it all works. But apparently Pommy evolves based on the food you feed Pommy, which is like divided into candy or sweets. Yeah, sweets, meat, and veggies or fruits. Healthy food, basically. So that kind of determines what the direction that Pommy will evolve in. It's a really complicated tree. I can only recommend you look it up yourself, because Pommy evolves into everything. So, that's Pommy out of the way. Now, other thing I want to talk about was how it felt searching. Okay, how it was searching. Let me just make sure this is plugged in as it's going to be. Just check all the sockets while I'm talking. Shoot, theory of thought. I was talking about the items, hiding them. To be honest, I think it's not better, it's not worse. What I think is worse is the bomb jumping. Because in like first games, it's really built around being able to do bomb jumps. And what I mean by that is, like, it'll even have like ledges where you just have spans of space where you're meant to just jump across on bombs. And in this game, like, the ice world puzzle is like when, like, bomb jumping is at its hardest. And one of the things that really affects that is the fact that you aren't really dropping off ledges to initiate these bomb jumps. You're basically having to forcibly hit yourself in the head with a bomb in order to get yourself started. And in this game, that stuns you. I can't 100% remember whether it 100% stuns you in the first game. I might not. Doing that, it just, Bomberman just says ow and just gets knocked out of the way, or gets knocked on top of another bomb, and he just does his thing. And then the second part is the amount of control you have when you're doing a bomb jump, because in the first game, the control you had while Bomberman was jumping was set only to be applicable when bomb has touched a bomb or collided on a bomb or bounced on a bomb. Those brief moments are the moments you have that you have control. So you can adjust slightly to the right, you can adjust slightly to the left, based on what direction you're bouncing in. There's technically two types of bomb jumping in the first game. There's one where you have momentum and one where you don't. In either scenario, you can make the small adjustments as you bounce on the bombs. In this game, you just have... I want to call it half-ass control, where as soon as you're done being stunned, because like you're gonna be stunned while getting on top of bombs, because there's no other way to get height in this game. They don't give you ledges normally. You have 100% control of the character for a limited amount of time until it goes away, or decides that you're moving fast enough that it takes it away, or it just... I have no idea how it works. For whatever reason, like, they just let you move around like you're playing Super Mario Bros. In the air. You have complete control over Mario. It's not 100% complete control, but you have partial control of Mario over the air. You can have Mario start moving backwards in the air, despite his forward momentum. He's basically air brakes. Or you can have him start to move forward in the air. Suddenly he has foot boosters. I don't know. In this game, you get about... It's close to a second of time. You can control Bomberman. But then the game just yanks it away from you. And if you're new to the game and you don't know that's coming, it's kind of really confusing and upsetting at the same time, because you feel like it's like, oh, I must have done something wrong, because I was doing fine a second ago, now it's just gone, and suddenly I don't have control, and it's confusing. And then it's possible for, after a couple seconds, to re-obtain the ability to move around, which is just even more confusing. Like, I can only think of that viewpoint as, like, well, if the player gets stuck on top of the bomb after we've taken their control away, we have to somehow give control back to the player so that they can get out of it. It's like in Halo, if you jump into a thing and you're stuck in the air, but you aren't touching the ground and you can't do anything, the game says, oh, we'll just give you the ability to do an extra jump for a sec to try and dislodge yourself. This game does... I almost want to think that's supposed to be what it's doing, but then, like, the game intends for you to be able to move around on top of the bombs, because that's how you get the custom parts. You're supposed to be able to move around on top of the bombs in order to go up, like in the ice place, because it's literally designed to go up. And then they just take away your control. I don't understand why they even have to take away your control. Does bomb jumping become overpowered when you have to do so much setup to get it all lined up in the first place? I don't really get the bomb jumping of this game. I much prefer the bomb jumping in the first game. Otherwise, I think just going around and collecting stuff is pretty comparable. I enjoyed it in both games. Although, again, I just hated the bomb jumping of this game. Alright, there's one other thing I'm supposed to be talking about. Yeah, this is probably going to be its own part. What was it? Frickin' light bombs. So, in between parts, Angel of Light, thank you again for commenting all my videos and giving me all the cool tips and info about the game. Explained to me that, the light bombs. Give me a moment. Sorry, I just needed to clear my throat. The light bombs, they freeze machinery and platforms, like treadmills. I somehow that. Well, I just never ran into a situation where I put a light bomb close enough to a treadmill, or I just didn't think about it, or it just didn't click. But, like, in my defense, the whole level where they even give you the light bombs is weird in itself, because, like, it tells you you need light bombs in order to enter the big palace thing, which is the final section of the level, and then you don't. You just have to wait for the clock to line up. So then, and like the statue, I still don't know if the statue required light bombs. I feel like it didn't make a noise that I had done anything to the statue when I was using light bombs in the room. I don't think the statue actually wanted light bombs. And in the final area, like, this is already just a really fun discussion. Because I solved that room without having to even touch the treadmill. I never was forced into a situation where I had to discover the light bombs or what I had to use. And, like, I'm sure, like, I eventually, like, when I run out of options, I would have had to, like, okay, let's just go through all the bombs and see what they do. Can I do anything with any of the bombs? I just never had to do that, because I was able to destroy the machine without actually using the treadmill. You just throw the bombs up top, and it blows up. And then, just to reiterate, the second time going through the level, what I did to get past that area with the wind bombs, it technically wouldn't have worked the first time going through the area because they disable your remote bombs. So the only reason I was able to do that was because it was a second playthrough for doing the wind bombs. So, like, I still wasn't forced to use it to learn to stop the treadmill using light bombs. It just all ends up in just a weird situation where I just never discovered that fact. It can also use it to pause platforms, but supposedly also that's not a big thing. I just want to know if you can beat the Epicure without ever getting light bombs now. Because, like, if you just wait the clock, go inside, do the push puzzle, do the next puzzle, supposedly, I still don't think the statue required the light bombs. I never heard it. I watched the video back. I never heard the good job noise for putting the bombs near the statue when I was using the light bombs. And then, like, the final room has that one section, and it's like, it's after you've destroyed all the other things. Like, they needed to, like, put a treadmill. Like, instead of the bridge, it should have just been a treadmill. Because then, like, they can't use the wind bombs because you can't get to the top because you can't go around the side. And then, like, it's like, that should have been when it should have taught you about using light bombs. It just went so badly. It's just, it's badly done, I think. And what was the other thing? Oh, using the light bombs in on what is this, Thanatos? I don't know. I'm not even gonna go there. So, light bombs, they do stuff. They freeze machinery, I guess I want to call it. Why didn't they freeze enemies too? Like, I feel like they really did not push what light bombs do onto me. Like, they briefly mentioned they can affect time, but then they give me a time-based puzzle that doesn't have anything to do with light bombs, and it's really confusing. And then it's like, well, I didn't need light bombs for the time-based puzzle, so, like, what the heck? Why did I need light bombs? And then I just go off and do everything else, and then I never got to the point where I had to just stop and say, okay, I can't get past this treadmill. Like, it didn't get there. I was able to just toss the bombs up top and break it. The freaking machine. So, what do I want to do to wrap up this 15-minute long video of me just blabbing on about stuff? There's one other thing. I talked about evolution, I talked about the light bombs, I talked about exploration and the bomb jumps. I don't know, I guess I'm technically done. Oh, that's the other thing. This doesn't really pertain to this, since, like, this is just a simple... This is a core game mechanic of the light bombs, but, like, typically with blind playthroughs, I do like to keep the amount of information I get really, really small. An example I have, not to bring up bad memories, but it was during the Kaizo run where they had added like secret stars to some of the levels, and it was alright that some person told me that they added secret stars to the game. What wasn't okay was when they told me the exact locations of where the secret stars were. That's what upset me. So I'm not upset that you told me about the light bombs. I'm actually really glad you told me about the light bombs, because there's a chance that I was never going to discover this fact. I have to consider the fact that you have to be able to beat the final level, Worship Noah, without having dark or light bombs. So, like, that means they can't, in theory, use them very well for some of the puzzles on the ship. So, like, was I ever going to discover that I was supposed to use light bombs? I don't know. We'll figure that out when I play this final level, but my lord, that was a lot to talk about for before starting the next part. I feel like I should have just saved this all for, like, after I beat the game or the credits or something. But, like, I couldn't, because I just had to talk about the fact that I now know about light bombs and what they do, since that was not known information the last time I picked up this game. So, I digress. I'm going to leave this episode off. I'm just going to start up a whole new thing for my next part when I actually go on the starship. Hope you enjoyed this weird discussion about the game and me and light bombs and lots of things. Aloha.